sweet, sweet old lady, but like also really nosy. Hey guys, welcome to another reading vlog. Now for the most part this week I'm going to be reading books from my Hey Readerathon TBR. But today's Saturday and I have a couple days until that starts on Monday. So I want to fill you in with what I've been reading and what I'm hoping to read before the readathon starts. So I mentioned in my last reading vlog this was going to be my next pick. This is Heart of Thorns. I picked this one off for my TBR because the prompt was something about a great first sentence, and this one really has a great first sentence. It was, once upon a time in a castle carved of stone, a girl plotted murder. I mean, that, like, if that doesn't draw you in, I don't know what would. And it starts out really great with this girl who, it's her wedding, the night before her wedding, and she doesn't want to get married, and I don't want to give too much away there, but this is in a world where there are women who have powers, have magic, and the king is pretty much afraid of them and has made them all out to be evil demons. So all the girls have to wear gloves, full-length gloves, so they don't accidentally touch people and use their magic. And it's like a very oppressed kingdom. And it starts out really well. And then maybe like a third of the way through or so, things start getting really twisted. I just forced myself to finish this yesterday, and by finish I do mean I skimmed the last 100 plus pages because it was just getting really twisted. First of all, I went like very, very, very hardcore into the feminist side, and then there was a point where like no one in the book was like even straight anymore, and I was just like, no, I don't need to be reading this. But I was really curious to see how it kind of wrapped up, and it was just a lot of betrayal and backstabbing, and I didn't enjoy it. The end didn't even redeem the terribleness of the book. So yeah, this is another one for my unhaul pile. I feel like there's at least been one of those every reading vlog lately, but at least that one's done. Then I did start last week Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. This has 12 fairy tales, and I'm pretty much exactly halfway through them now. I've been reading 1 or 2 a day, so I don't think I'll read any during the readathon, but I'll pick it up again afterwards. And then I started one that was on my library TBR that a subscriber recommended to me, and this is Conspiracy in Kiev. I didn't go into it knowing anything, and so far I am 100 pages in, and I'm not really enjoying it. Every other chapter we follow like our main character, and then the other chapters we're constantly being introduced to new people. Even though we're 100 pages in, we've probably had 6 or 7 chapters that have completely different characters. And then our main character is, what is she part of? Like the FBI or some kind of special agent of some sort. And she is chosen for this assignment in Kiev, and she's just so perfect because like she qualified for this assignment because she knows 5 languages and this and that, and has all the things. Like when she was in high school, she had a scholarship to Europe one summer and then another one the next year, and like there's nothing wrong with this girl. And I like my characters to be a little bit more average. I like average with a bit of spunk. And so where this person is just totally unrelatable, she goes to like the firing range and, you know, like pretty much bullseye every time, and after she's done she turns around and like all these men are watching her, and it's like, really? Like, I don't know, I can't relate to this at all. I am curious to see where it goes. It's kind of like mob gang, I think, stuff that is going to happen in Kiev that she's going to be spying on maybe or something. This has almost 400 pages. It is a Zondervan book. It's supposed to be Christian written. our main character talks about going to church, but that's about it. Yeah, I don't know where I stand with this yet. I'm definitely gonna finish it, but it definitely hasn't gripped me a lot. So I will probably, and I made myself some hot chocolate. I will probably only read that book before the readathon. Hey Readerathon. I filled my cup way too full and I spilled a couple times on the way over. Yeah, so this weekend is Canadian Thanksgiving here, so, or Thanksgiving here in Canada, I guess I should say. So I'm hosting Thanksgiving, we're hosting Thanksgiving today, which means I need to make a whole meal yet. And so I won't have a ton of time for reading, and then tomorrow I can read a little bit, but then we're going to my in-laws for Thanksgiving. So a little bit of reading, probably enough just to finish this, and then I get to start on my TBR. So these, plus Assassin's Apprentice, which Jared stole from me and is currently reading, are the books for my Hey Readerathon TBR for this week. I'm definitely going to read Assassin's Apprentice. I did get the audio for Room and The Night Gardener. I don't know which one I'm going to listen to. I wanted options. I'm probably leaning towards The Night Gardener for audio. And I don't know what I'm going to pick up first. I'm kind of just playing it by ear. So that will start on Monday, which is probably the next time I'll check in. Okay, so I totally thought I would pop in yesterday and like, because it was the start of the Hey Readerathon, but I kind of just got lazy and didn't. So let's see. Before the Hey Readerathon started, I finished Conspiracy in Kiev, and I usually like write jot notes on sticky notes at the back of a book, or like I stick it on the back of a book, and kind of write my thoughts as I'm writing it. And this one deserved 2 sticky notes, and they're like incredibly messy, and I can barely even read them. But yeah, this book, it was interesting. Because it's a trilogy, I plan on continuing. If it was a series, like more than 3 books, I don't know if I would. There's a lot of politics going on, a lot of like hopping around from different countries. I was a little bit confused. Our main character is like so perfect, and yet there's some things where I'm like, well, that wasn't smart. I feel like the book is quite flawed, but at the same time it had a lot of twists, and I like not knowing where things are going. So yeah, my plan is to continue the series. I'll request the next one from the library. Yeah, and then I don't know if I will try anything else by this author. No idea if he has anything else out, but this one was decent enough for me to continue. Then to start the Hey Readerathon, I picked up the book that I was kind of like dreading the most, Only the River Runs Free. This is historical fiction, like kind of like the land wars and the problems between the English and the Irish back in 1840s-ish. Oh man. And so kind of the theme in both of these books for me was just like me not understanding what was going on. And so I'm like, is it the books or is it me? This one also had like a lot of characters. Like, it's a pretty short book, like just over 200 pages. It took me so long to read. I kept getting distracted by like online shopping and yeah, and all the other things. But I don't know. I've only read one other book written by these authors before, and I feel like that one wasn't confusing, so I'm going to try more by them. But this one, I don't know. I don't know the history, the Irish history going into this. Usually, well, I don't really know much history at all, but historical fiction often makes me want to learn more. And this one, I want to learn more, but I feel like I needed background information going into it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if this, oh yeah, this is the Galway Chronicles. So I don't even know if maybe this wasn't book 1 in this series, or I don't know. I felt confused right off the bat. Like, I should have known more, so I should look into that, and I will pop it on the screen if I've figured it out. But yeah, I got this one at a little free library, so like no harm done there. Read my water prompt. Then I thought I had Room and The Night Gardener on audio, but turns out I only have Room, and I kind of want to read this one in person, physically, so I'm not going to listen to a book this week, probably, at least not a readathon book. I do have The Night Gardener on hold, but it's not supposed to come for a while yet. So I don't know anything about this book. I've read, I think I'm on like page 10. All I know is our main character, narrator person, is a 5-year-old boy who has never left this room, and we will see where that goes from there. I am listening to an audiobook not related to the readathon because I had some driving to do. So I'm listening to The False Prince, written by Jennifer Nielsen. I've liked a few of her books recently, like Stepsister and did she write The Beauty and the Beast? I think so. The Lost in a Book that I recently read. Yeah, so I wanted to try this one out. It's very interesting so far. I think it's YA. This man gets these 3 orphan boys, and he's trying to train them to fill the role of a prince and fool people. So it's kind of an interesting setup so far. Yeah, so I'm gonna read this today. Maybe not all of it, I'm not sure. And then I'm not sure which of these 3 I will go to after that. But time for me to do some reading and hopefully get at least a chunk of this done. I've been having so much fun with this readathon. I actually got a message, someone just saying I was rocking this readathon, even though I think I've only actually finished 2 books so far. But I feel like there's a decent amount of pressure on me as someone that is, you know, in charge of the readathon. I want to make sure I, you know, set a good example, and it's like a really good pressure. I'm really enjoying taking this time to read lots of good books. So let's talk about what I've been reading lately. I totally meant to update yesterday, but then I decided that I was just gonna read instead. So I actually finished Room, and I'm gonna apologize for the lighting. There are clouds and it keeps getting brighter and darker. I finished Room yesterday. Okay, so I don't even know what to say, because it wasn't what I expected in a good way. I actually really enjoyed this. I thought that all the time was going to be spent in the room. I don't know, I didn't really have much for expectations, I guess. I really like where the author took this halfway through. I really enjoyed the fact that she took the time to think about like the trauma and lasting effects, or at least the semi-lasting effects of growing up in a room and not knowing about the outside world for the first 5 years of your life. I have always been incredibly interested in psychology and sociology, and this book really, like, I don't know, I really enjoyed how she kind of thought through all this, and I've never read anything by this author before, but I might be interested in trying something else if she has more out there that have decent reviews. This is one of those books that I always see at the thrift store, and then I never know if that means they're actually good or if people that don't even really read books are just buying it too. I'm always a little leery on those kind of books, even though I want to read them because I want to kind of have this general world knowledge of what the average person is reading. But I'm often hesitant because there's many disappointing books like that. But I found this one to be really interesting, and I'm thankful that I read it. After that, I picked up Anne of Avonlea yesterday, And I read Anne of Green Gables like 4-ish years ago maybe. And it was okay. Like, I don't know, I don't really remember a ton, but I'm only 78 pages into this, and I have laughed out loud multiple times. I don't know if, because I've watched the what is it, the CBC, the Megan Follows version of the movie so many times, that Anne has kind of lost her spark, at least like in the first book, or what, but I don't remember it being like amazing. But this second one, so far, I'm really enjoying. I forgot how funny L.M. Montgomery writes. I forgot about the spunk of Anne and just how creatively she writes characters. There was one moment where I was like, well, she's kind of, you know, like, these are fictional characters, got to keep that in mind. And then I was thinking about my own childhood growing up in really small town Saskatchewan, and I was like, well, you know, these are actually pretty realistic characters. We lived in a very small town, less than 1,000 people, when I was in elementary school, and we had our house, and then our next door neighbor was like in her 90s, and then my grandma lived across the street in about half a block down, and our little next door neighbor, my mom is pretty sure, like, poisoned our bushes because she didn't want any separation there. Sweet old lady, but like also really nosy. My grandma would wake up at, was it like 4 o'clock in the morning? Because if she didn't, then our neighbor, Mrs. Martins, would phone, and like, little busybody, she's got nothing to do at 4 in the morning, that she's spying on people down the street. So what my grandma would do, she would set her alarm for 4 in the morning, turn on her light so it looked like she was awake, and then we'd go back to bed. And I mean, like, this went both ways. My grandma, in her kitchen, she had like her sink and then cupboards on either side, and on the one side of her cupboard was a mirror, because that way, looking at the mirror there, she could kind of like peep down the street and see Mrs. Martin's house. Like, this is real life. And I feel like that's very similar to a lot of what goes on in Anne of Avonlea. So I feel like I can relate a lot to this growing up in very small town Saskatchewan. My plan is, I would really like to finish this today. I better finish this today. And then from here I have just the 2 books left, I guess. Assassin's Apprentice, which I kind of talked a little bit of smack on Instagram and said I would finish it before Jared, but I haven't even started it and he finished it already, so I guess I was wrong. And then I've got The Night Gardener. I was putting this one off because I thought maybe the audiobook would come in, and it hasn't yet. So I'll probably save this one for last because I really want to get to this one. But yeah, I guess I'll end my reading vlog here. And then this weekend we've got, today's Thursday, there's a little bit of time yet today. We've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday to read 2 3/4 of a book. I think that should be possible. So I will have another reading vlog wrapping up this readathon next Friday, and then you can hear the rest of my thoughts on my picks for the week. Thanks again for watching, guys.